Hello everyone, Johnny Mind here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Super Mario World, as in Super Mario Advance 2. Last time we started by studying kanji, because we found it in a previous episode in-game. Then we played one level. It was a shorter stream since it was after the partner showcase. So today we'll continue from there. We're still in World 1, as you see. But yeah, without further ado, let's start.
Choose the game. Here we go. Super Mario.
And yeah, as you can see, we're still in World 1. We've played only 4 levels in total, but yeah, that makes sense considering that all the writings we have found. Going forward, we find less of those, so it should be faster. Well, apart of course from the level names, but those will be a constant, of course. And yeah, we can start. And yeah, speaking of level names, we now play this one. It should be corrected that we have to play as Mario because we are alternating. Which is exclusive to this version, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, here you can see the current world. Of course, we'll see also the differences in later, after continuing the game, after having played other worlds and so on. But yeah, it's a list of the levels, all their names, so yeah, don't check those out again. The only additional writings here, well, apart from this is help in English, of course, which, by the way, that will become simply in Japanese, as in again, by changing by adapting the English word in Japanese, because of course then there are Japanese terms of Chinese origin. But yeah, help would become herupu, just to mention it. And yeah, again we have the additional u, because the consonants can stay on their own, and then English help that becomes Japanese R. But yeah, it's because it's actually a variant, even though most pronounce it as a tap flap, l, l. In this case, l, l, l. As for its accent, which is what interests us more, yeah, okay, it's accented just like in English, so on the high, low, low. After that, we only have well, we have, of course, at the top also Mario and Luigi, with the numbers next to them. So yeah, how many stages each brother has played, other than, of course, seeing their icons next to the level names in the actual list. Yeah, the only other additional writing is score, which, yeah, of course, it's score from English. Again, we have the additional U for the consonant that can stay on its own. We have this final A to replace the sound, the R sounds from English. Yeah, in this case, simply the R sounds, mostly because of the most typical of ones of those, which is R. So yeah, that the closest vowel is R, so yeah. Even for those in general, like in this case, even though technically it would be in English, score. Or in variants without the R sounds, simply a longer vowel. As for its, of course, there's also the matter that the is barely heard, if at all, because it's between unvoiced consonants. So yeah, even more similar to the English word than scoa. As for its accent, my guess would be just like in English, so on the co, and yes, it is on the co, so low, high, O, scoa. And yeah, so not much to see here for now, but I wanted to quickly show it since I've shown it by accident last time. But yeah, now we can actually start playing this level. As for its name, we are still it's still the same since we are still in World 1, except of course for the number. Yeah, this is Yosta to Kosu Yon. And yeah, we have the usual Yosta to, so Yoster from a wordplay between from Yoshi and Easter, Easter Island. To, which is the suffix and also the Chinese pronunciation for the kanji of island. We have seen that when added makes unaccented. So yeah, easier to remember. And yeah, last but not least, we have kosu, course from English. And yeah, the only big difference is the number 4. Reminder that, yeah, technically we could use also the English word for, even though here I guess we would use the most common pronunciation for the number 4 in Japanese when used on its own. And so, usually it would be the Chinese readings. But in this case, it's actually a strictly Japanese one, yon, because the Chinese reading for 4 would be xi, and unfortunately that's also the Chinese reading for the word for death, and yeah, so it's not used, especially on its own. Well, technically it's actually used, but less often. And of course can still be found in certain compounds. But yeah, on its own, more often than not, you hear yon instead. By the way, yon should be accented. And in that case, of course, it's accented, and that's it. By the way, she is also accented. Yeah, yon is accented because the accent in this case, the syllable counts as a whole. The accent can stay on the final part of syllables, like in our case, the final n, or the second vowel of a diphthong, a long vowel, the doubling of the following consonant. Yeah, those. The accent can stay there, so yeah, it counts as a syllable, so on the first mora of the syllable. Mora or beat, as it's they are called haku in Japanese. Yeah, so yosta to kosu yon should be. Yeah, we can then actually play it. We see if we find. Yeah, let's go. We have a block there since we activated the yellow switch. I don't remember if you can get there. Well, not without a power-up. Well, definitely you can get there with power-ups, but yeah, we don't have them. Oh boy, yeah. It's actually because I want to show certain something, unless particularly necessary. I usually avoid rewinding in this game, since we shouldn't lose particular progress. We can save any time. But I wanted to do that to show that you can eat Pokies with Yoshi. But yeah, then we get our next writing. And yeah, of course, there are a lot of these advice, in particular, the 1 point advice, as called here 1 point advice, especially here at the start of the game, because of course it's the start of the game, so these advices are particularly useful and present then, even though I know, I'm pretty sure there are also in later levels. Yeah, this one says, actually is a full sentence after the 1 point advice, which is the title of it. 一度クリアしたコースなら、スタートボタンを押して戻るを選択すると、マップに戻ることができます。And yeah, first and foremost, we have 一度、which is actually a numeral plus counter combination. We've seen it before in previous series. We'll check out again with the physical dictionary the accents. Okay, got both dictionaries, even though we'll use only one for now, the one that has the numeral plus counter combinations. I have the other one ready. We have seen it, I think, before, but it was a more difficult one. I seem to remember. Well, first and foremost, there technically, there's this difference, this I remembered, because it's worth mentioning that do can be used also for grade, both as in temperature and also degree. Yeah, just like a grade in English. That one, lucky, is pretty easy, because it's always accented on the syllable before the do itself. So yeah, we would have in our case I, chi, do, low, high, low, and then nido, sando, yondo. Notice again the yon because for the 4, because again to avoid the si, godo, and so on. Pretty easy. The one that we have here, based on the context, also because it's the one you hear more often, considering its meaning, is the one for time, number of times, a counter for occurrences, and yeah, so once, twice, 3 times, and so on. And yeah, unfortunately, this is the more complex one. There are some, actually most of them, well, actually half and half, more or less, that are accented on the do itself, and ichido is one of them. So, by the way, when pronounced on its own, it sounds unaccented, but technically is accented on the do, according to the dictionary. And that I've seen also with the online dictionary plus plugin combination. They put it for ichido at least also there. And yeah, we have ichido accented there, nido. Then we have san do, so on the san. So yeah, the other pattern for this is accented before the do, just like for the one for degree. Yondo, then godo, rokudo, nanado. Yeah, more often than not, technically there exists also shichi by using the Chinese number, but nowadays more often than not the strictly Japanese number is used. So nana instead of shichi. Hachido, kyudo, judo. So yeah, actually, it's worth remembering at this point, since there are actually slightly less of those accent on the do. No, actually they are 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, slightly less, but as I mentioned, yeah, more or less half and half. Yeah, I'd say better to remember the exceptions and then consider it accented before the do, like for the degrees. So yeah, 1, 2, ichido, nido, godo, and rokudo. Everything else the same. But yeah, the meaning so is once, yeah, one time. And yeah, in our case, it's literally simply one time. Then we have kuria, of course, from English clear. In the context of games like this one, it means clear as in clearing a level. Yeah, while it can be used as an adjective, an adjective in particular. So with the meaning clear, more often than not, can also be used as a noun, and so then it becomes clear-ing. But of course, Japanese doesn't conjugate English words in the way English does. So yeah, they always use kuria. Can be made also into a verb by adding the verb suru, to do. Yeah, literally to do clearing, and so yeah, to clear. And yeah, we have actually suru in this case in a conjugated form. Suru is unfortunately one of the verbs completely irregular. So you simply have to remember that to add that form, you have to change it into si. So actually the continuative form of the verb. And yeah, then you add ta, sta. By the way, sta, still unaccented like suru on its own. The E is barely heard if at all, because it's between unvoiced consonants, so yeah, sta. Like Korea, I didn't particularly mention it, but yeah, we have the usual additional U, L that becomes Japanese R, and then the R sounds at the end, A. As for its accent, by the way, accented just like in English. I think we have actually seen it before, at least once. But yeah, we have the ta form of the verb for suru, well, actually the kriya suru combination, so yeah, for the verb to clear. And so actually the past form of the verb in plain speech. In this case, because we then have a noun, so yeah, is the usual relative clause we have seen so many times, because yeah, it's quite important in Japanese. Noun, which is course, so yeah, course that implied you have cleared once. After course, we have Nara. Technically, a form of the conditional. So yeah, it would be literally if it is. Yeah, it's actually implied that it is. The it is not even implied because technically Nara comes from Nari, classical form of the copula. It's the one that also from which comes the na used with na adjectives. We change the I into a in this case to make the irrealis form not yet state form, as I call it also, based on the Japanese name that form. We have seen it used in contemporary Japanese as the form used for mostly for the negative. In this case, it's actually used for the conditional, because yeah, in classical Japanese, if you added the ba, and yeah, it's the extended form of Nara. This is actually a shortening, even though it's the one used nowadays, accented by the way on the na itself, so high, low, would be Nara ba. And so yeah, we have the ba of the conditional, of the other conditional with ba. And yeah, the conditional used actually the irrealis not yet state form in classical Japanese. Only later it got changed, and then we have the conditional form for verbs you now use with ba. But yeah, it was worth mentioning because yeah, it literally is if it is. So yeah, it becomes if, in case, if it is the case that, if it is true that. And yeah, so being this one can be said that focuses more on the condition itself. But can be also used in, like in this case, technically, as kind of like a copula, a replacement of the topic particle. And so yeah, its meaning becomes as for on the topic of. So yeah, practically just like the topic particle in meaning. Of course, it's more of a special word structure. So yeah, it's even more yeah, literally if that's the case, if it is that, yeah, more used as in on the topic of. Yeah, so is used, replaces the wa, is used in a similar way as the wa, but yeah, the wa is used quite often in Japanese. The nara is more not even emphatic, not even that exactly. We could say it's more how can I say it? It focuses particularly on that topic, and yeah, and so unsurprising, the dictionary translates it on the topic of. Yeah, so a special form, special expression, and yeah, literally again a conditional. So yeah, literally it would be if it is a course that you have cleared once, as for or even better to distinguish it from the one on the topic of courses that we have created once. Then we have stato, of course, start from English, the usual one. We have the additional U for the su, the O for top to avoid the change of the consonant. Sometimes they didn't care about that, but yeah, when it comes to most forms, most likely once introduced later, they avoid changing the consonant for the and keep the T by adding O instead of U or E. And we have the longer vowel for start. Yeah, again, like English varieties without the R sounds. The accent is on the ta. The U is barely heard if at all, of course, being between unvoiced consonants, so yeah, even more similar to English. Stato, and accent on the ta, just like in English. After that, we have botan, again, unaccented, similar to English, but it's actually the Portuguese word botao. And yeah, that's why it's slightly different. And yeah, the start button, of course. Then we have the object particle O, written as one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have the verb oste, from osu. We've seen it a lot, and yeah, especially with the such objects like botan, because yeah, it means to push, also in the sense of to thrust, to shove, but yeah, also to push a button, to press down. So yeah, typical verb for video games. Osu, unaccented, is a U verb, Godan verb. So we have to follow the rules to make the T form. It's in Susut actually pretty easy. We make the continuity form by changing the U into E. We don't have changes. It's unaccented, so yeah, also the T form is unaccented. The E is barely heard if at all, because it becomes it's then in between unvoiced consonants. So oste. T form, which is in its most common usage here. You do the action of the verb and, so yeah, a conjugation and for verbs specifically. So yeah, you do the action of that verb and then the rest of the sentence. Rest of the sentence, which in our case is first we have modoru. Notice, as we'll see also below, there's another modoru later, which is in hiragana, and yeah, that's actually how it should be. Because it's a strictly Japanese word, verb in particular. This one is in katakana instead. Katakana can be used other than for words from foreign languages that aren't Chinese, or at least that aren't Chinese when it came to Japan in the past. There are more recent Chinese words that are written in katakana if you don't use the kanji. But yeah, it's usually used for foreign words. Another usage for katakana is to put emphasis on the word. So yeah, like if you changed it, you put them in bold or italics in English, for example. And yeah, to put some focus, some emphasis on them. In this case, although I suspect that it could also be because it could literally be in katakana in the game, even though here it actually uses both hiragana and katakana, so in the game in general, so actually it could be that, and so it would be exclusively the focus, but yeah, potentially in other cases it could literally be because it's found in katakana in game. But yeah, here it says simply focus, emphasis, so yeah, actually to show in this particular case that it's the option you'll find in game, Modoru. We actually see it if we ever replay a level. But yeah, it doesn't change. Modoru is a verb, should be accented. We have seen it before. In particular, for example, in Kirby's Adventure, there was literally a sign there with that. It means to turn back, to return, to go back. And yeah, it should be accented, it is. But yeah, in our case, we literally have the verb in the dictionary form. So yeah, technically in its present form, so potentially also future in plain speech, because the present is also used for the future, for a simple future. But yeah, here simply we have the verb in its dictionary form. Then we have the object particle o. Then we have the verb sentaku. Well, technically we have a Chinese compound, sentaku, and should be unaccented, just like most of those, but we'll check. There are technically more than one. The other one, which is actually another pretty common word, considering its meaning, is for washing, as in the laundry. And yeah, that one is unaccented, but yeah, clearly not in our context. The one we have here is the one sentaku, still unaccented, so unfortunately you can't use that to distinguish the. You can't use the accent to distinguish the meaning, only the context, but yeah, it's pretty clear in its own. Yeah, because the other one means choice, selection, option, a noun, but yeah, we can add the verb suru, to do, and yeah, so literally to do a choice, selection, options, and so to choose, to select. And yeah, here we have suru as is, because then we actually add the particle to. Here, more than a particle, technically is a conjugation. Conjunction. Because yeah, it's another form of the conditional. Conditional, and by the way, also temporal. It's worth mentioning that on the other hand, usually the Nara, we have seen before, is the only one that usually should be strictly conditional. All the other forms of the conditional in Japanese are can also have a temporal meaning if, when, just like in English. In this particular case, with to, it's the closest form of the conditional in Japanese to the zero conditional in English. So yeah, if you do the action of that verb, then whatever else is mentioned inevitably happens. Yeah, perfect in our case, because yeah, if or when you select, you choose Modoru, as in literally the option you find in game, then inevitably, and yeah, what happens? First and foremost, we have mappu, yeah, literally map from English. Notice only the additional U at the end as usual, but also the doubling of the consonant. Yeah, simply map from English, accented just like in English. Then we have the particle ni, here with the meaning to. required by the following verb, which is modoru. Go back to, return to. After that, we have koto, a noun technically. So technically, this would be another relative clause. Koto, as we have seen before, it has the meaning thing, as in matter. Accent on the last syllable. Unlike mono, we have studied the kanji for that, actually, two kanji for that, even though there's one, the most typical one is for thing as in object. That's the distinction between the two. Being thing as in matter is actually used also as a nominalizing suffix. So literally we could say that the matter of doing the action of the verb, the fact of doing the action of the verb. In this case, used to nominalize the verb. After koto, we have then the subject particle ga. And last but certainly not least, we have the verb dekimasu from the kiru, accented. It means to be able to do. And yes, so actually, this is a structure found in Japanese to make the potential form of a verb. We have seen that the verbs technically have also their can be conjugated to make the potential form of those verbs, but we also have this other form, that uses nominalizes the verb with koto. Then, of course, we use the subject particle ga, and actually makes sense because, as we have seen before, for potential verbs, the conjugated ones, the rule should be, even though sometimes it might not be respected and you might still see the object particle. But yeah, when using a verb in the potential, then what would be usually in English the object becomes the subject. Yeah, you use the subject particle. But yeah, here literally the fact, the matter of going back and everything else is doable, we could say. So we have the kimasu from the kiru, ru verb, it's then verb, so we can simply drop the ru to make the continuative form. In this case, simply to add then the auxiliary verb mas, which is the one used for to make the polite form of verbs. In this, with mas in particular, the present in the affirmative, so also potentially the future. So we can fully translate it finally. Literally, if it is a course that you have cleared once, so as for on the topic of courses that you have cleared once, then in English we have to put the if immediately. If you push the start button and choose again literally do this selection, do the choice of but yeah, let's keep it as a verb to avoid confusion. So if you press the start button and choose modoru, as in again the option which is in the menu, you can go back to the map. So yeah, a little tip here and advice. Of course now we're back to our Super Mario World. Thank you, Charlie7. So a little advice, which actually I'm not sure we'll use much because well, actually we should be able to use it at least to show it, because we'll have to replay levels when it will come to secret exits. Yeah, it's still a little too early for those. Didn't want to do that. Well, I can actually still make the jump here, I think. Yeah, perfect. Not that I particularly needed it above there. Okay, no, yeah, to make this fold and technically have a bridge. Yeah, bye Yoshi. Unfortunately, we missed. Well, actually, I don't want to lose Yoshi simply to show a certain something. So yeah, we'll actually keep Yoshi. Again, technically we won't need to use... and most likely we won't use rewind as much, because yeah, it doesn't particularly matter if we lose lives. We can save anywhere in this game. But yeah, in this case I'd like to keep Yoshi to show a little something. And yeah, we got all the dragon coins again. So we... and yeah, funny enough, right before the end of the level we have another of these blocks. And yeah, funny enough, it's right before the goal, because it actually explains something about the goal. Something that I haven't been able to show yet. So yeah, funny enough, the game beat me to it. Yeah, here it says, first and foremost, the first part says Goru no ropu o kitta toki bonesu star ga moraimasu. First and foremost, we have Goru. Again, yeah, from English, goal. We have seen it before, I think. Don't remember if also in this series. Yeah, not the usual rules again. We have long O, but yeah, just like initial, and then we have the additional U and L, which becomes Japanese R. As already mentioned, the accent should be on the first syllable, just like in English it is. So Goru, high, low, low. Then we have the possessive particle no. Then we have rope, again from English, rope. Again, only the additional U at the end. Accented, just like in English, so rope, high, low, low again. Then we have the object particle O. Then we have the verb kita from kiru. And yeah, so actually, despite being in iru, this is the one, and can also be seen here due to the conjugation. It's actually a U verb, godan verb, despite that, so be careful. There are some in iru, some verbs in iru and eru, which aren't ru verbs, ichidan verbs, but are actually U verb, godan verbs. Unfortunately, you simply have to remind them, but the more you see them, the more you remember them. This is one that you see a lot. Kiru means to cut, and other several extended meanings. One of the most common ones, which I want to mention again, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, is to turn off the light, because you figuratively cut it, or cut the connection that, of course, allows it. Yeah, so here simply to cut, its fundamental meaning. It's a U verb, godan verb as mentioned, so we have to follow the rules to make that a form. It's in rules, so it becomes double consonant ta. Again, first we would make the conjugative form, change the U into I, kiri ta, but then most likely the I fell, so kir ta, difficult to pronounce for Japanese. So yeah, it became simply the doubling of the following consonant, the ta. So yeah, kita. the accent of ta forms and also te forms when the verb is accented. When it's unaccented, as we have seen, mentioned it again today, it's still unaccented. Accented ones, it's accented on the third to last syllable. So yeah, in our case, luckily, it's still the same. So on the key, it changes with reverbs each and verbs, because then it moves. But we'll see that again. That form, so past form in plain speech, in this case required because then we had a noun. So yeah, again a relative clause technically. Noun which is toki, accented on the last syllable, means it's a strictly Japanese word, which means time, hour, moment, occasion, case by extension, but yeah, the fundamental meaning is time. And yeah, this literally would be at the time, moment, however, and so on, in which you have cut the rope of the goal. But yeah, this structure with a verb before toki can be translated in English, and it's convenient to do so with simply a when. And so yeah, when you have cut the rope of the goal, which is actually what we we kept on failing to do. Yeah, we got through the goal but didn't cut the rope. Yeah, by doing when you have done so, we have then bonus. Of course, from English bonus. And yeah, notice we have the long vowel, of course, for the O. The A instead of E, because yeah, it's the closest vowel. And the additional U at the end, of course, for the S that can stay on its own. Bonus. And yeah, bonus in all its practically all its English meanings. And yeah, accented just like in English on the bonus. Then we have immediately after star. Of course, from English star. Same rules as usual. Additional U, the R sound becomes long A. The U barely heard if at all because it's between our voice consonants. And yeah, so star. In all its meanings, star as the symbol. Star also as a star, an actor, athlete, and so on, a celebrity. Oh yeah, in our cases, stars, the ones seen in Mario games. But technically here, the symbols we can actually see on above, on the top of the screen, the one next, yeah, we literally have the icon of a star, then the X, and then a number, 0 currently, because I kept on missing these ropes. But yeah, so yeah, we have bonus stars. Most actually usually in the plural, according to the context, as we see. But we don't change. Usually we don't change. We don't add the z in Japanese, of course. Again, we don't conjugate usually the English words. We have one form for them, and we keep that. And then at most we can conjugate them according to Japanese rules. Again, in our case, so yeah, star or also stars, depending on the context. Then we have the subject particle ga, because then we have the verb moraimasu from morau. Should be unaccented. We have seen it before, at least once, I think. Not in this series, I think, but in a previous one. But either way, it's the verb which means to receive. yeah, unaccented, I remember correctly. It's a verb, golden verb, so we can change the U into E and then add RU, here not present because of further conjugation, to make the potential form of the verb. And yeah, this is how you make it when you conjugate the verb. In particular, in this case, U verbs, golden verbs. Yeah, so the meaning is can receive. And then, yeah, the potential form of the verb is a RU verb, it's a verb. So we can drop the RU to make the continuative form, required to then add mass and make the polite form of the verb. And yeah, again, you can see that with the potential form of the verb, what in this case we can clearly see it would be an object. Usually we would have the object particle. Yeah, we have to replace it with the subject particle because, yeah, literally it would become bonus stars can be received, or even better, bonus stars are receivable technically. But yeah, I wanted to also mention that most likely bonus star in this case could be counted as a compound. We have seen previous ones, and usually in these cases the accent that stays because the is the one of the second word. So yeah, in our case would be bonus star. So yeah, on the one for star, for star. Yeah, either way, the translation simply becomes okay. The time in which you have cut the rope of the goal, literally. So yeah, when you have cut the rope of the goal, bonus stars are receivable. Bonus stars can be received. You can receive bonus stars. Yeah, we can continue. それが100集まれば楽しいボーナスゲームが始まります。First and foremost, we have それ of the Koso Ado series. Ko close to both the speaker and the listener. So far from the speaker, close to the listener. A far from both. Do the interrogative. Koso A usually unaccented. Do accent on the do itself. When we add a re, we get the demonstrative pronoun. So in this case would be that, without anything else after. It's worth mentioning that so, usually mostly so, sometimes also a, can be used also for in general. So yeah, when you don't have something actually there, and so with the typical distances. There's a slight difference between the two, but yeah, for now let's simply keep in mind that so is the one mostly used. And yeah, sore unaccented as mentioned. Then we have the subject particle ga. We have the number 100. And yeah, so actually pronounced with its Chinese pronunciation. There is technically a Japanese pronunciation for the kanji, but nowadays it's actually not used. Technically, as mentions also here the plugin, it's considered a poetical word. I mentioned it incidentally. We see it again when we study the kanji. It would be momo, except on the first mo. But yeah, the one actually used is hyaku, which is the Chinese reading. Accent on the ku at the end, so yeah, it's like that. Yeah, most likely in this case we would use that as its pronunciation used usually on its own. And yeah, we have 100. And yeah, in this case, technically, usually we would have a counter. But yeah, in this case, they simply kept the number in itself. That's not typical for Japanese, but I guess they made an exception here. So that the high number and also the counter on screen. But yeah, then we have the verb atsumare ba, which is from Atsumaru. Actually, I don't remember the accent. We have seen it before. Okay, actually accented, yeah. I was double guessing myself, but yeah. Atsumaru is the verb which means to gather, to collect, to assemble. It's the intransitive form of the verb. There's also the transitive one, which is atsumeru. Notice again one in eru, the transitive one, the intransitive one in aru. So yeah, the intransitive one most likely is a classical form of the passive. So yeah, literally is gathered, is collected, is assembled, and yeah, so then becomes simply something gathers, collects, assembles. So yeah, simply the intransitive form of the verb. And yeah, in our case makes sense since we have the ga for sore. So yeah. It's u verb, codam verb. So we can change the u into e to make. Technically, this is the nowadays you find it called simply as the conditional form of the verb. Originally, it was the realis form. So yeah, as in the opposite of the irrealis form, the not yet state form of the verb. And yeah, in Japanese it would be the already, the real state of the verb. The already state form. But yeah, for simply keep in mind that in contemporary Japanese it's usually used for the this conditional. Yeah, you for u verbs, the codam verbs, you change the u into e and then add ba. And yeah, the ba again, one of the conditional forms, also temporal potentially, if when. This is more the closest one to first conditional. So yeah, if you do the action of the of that verb, then something will happen. Yeah, we could say in general actually a more kind of more generic conditional. But yeah, you see, we'll see then also when we continue seeing. But yeah, conditional or temporal form. So if when you that gather are collected, or better in this case, keeping actually are collected when we have to adapt it in English when 100 of those are collected. Then we have tanoshi, an adjective, ni, an i adjective, because it ends in i, and are those that can be conjugated, as in the adjective itself. Is accented, so yeah, tanoshi, low, high, high, and low. So the accent is on the shi, on the second to last syllable, well, second to last mora, to be precise, although technically you might find some that then are accent on the third to last, that I've seen it more with verbs, because yeah, usually in the dictionary form those are also accented when they are accented on the second to last moral. But yeah, technically syllable. But yeah, tanoshi means enjoyable, fun, pleasant, happy, delightful. We've seen it in the previous series, don't think this one. And then we have again bonus, and then after that game. So yeah, from English game, we have the additional oof to keep because the M can stay on its own. Sometimes, as we have seen, it can stay on its own, as in it's replaced with the n that can stay on its own, but yeah, only when followed by a bilabial consonant, and so yeah, then that's because n, when followed by those consonants, is also bilabial, and so that it becomes m, but yeah, on its own we have to use mu instead. Yeah, we have seen it before actually, accented just like in English, luckily. Yeah, we have bonus game. Again, most likely, let's say accent on the game itself, because bonus game will become a compound technically. Bonus game. So yeah, low, high, 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 up until the ge, and then everything else low. Then we have the subject particle ga. And yeah, then we have the verb hajimarimasu from hajimaru. We have seen it, funny enough, considering its meaning, at the start of this series, in when you selected a new file, because yeah, it's the verb that means to begin, to start. The intransitive form of the verb, again the intransitive one in aru, the transitive one in eru, so hajimeru should be an accented if I recall correctly, they are. So yeah, in this case something begins, starts, literally it would be something is begun, is started. Yeah, so classical form of the passive, a classical passive form of the verb. But yeah, u verb colon verb, so we can change the u into it to make the continuative form. In this case, simply to add and mass and make the polite form of the verb. So yeah, the full translation is if or when you call literally those are collected, 100 of them implied. Yeah, we can in English we could simply say if when 100 of those are collected by adapting it. Fun, enjoyable, however you want to say, yeah, say simply fun here. A fun bonus game begins. Yeah, so we got to hear what happens when we have those. I like to finally get some. Yeah, you get as many depending on when you where you cut the rope, at which height. Yeah, 19 there. And yeah, so we have that. We have finished that level. We have this one. And yeah, but we'll take our usual break now, around 5 minutes. And when we'll be back, we'll play this level. And yeah, you might, if you have already played the game, you might already know it, or you might guess it based on the map. Also on the icon for the level. Yeah, this is actually the final level of this world, the castle. Yeah, we'll play it after our usual break, around 5 minutes. So see you then. And we are back. And yeah, we can now continue. And yeah, as mentioned, now we are playing this next level is the castle of this world. So yeah, the final level of this world. And yeah, literally its name in Japanese is Yosta to no shiro. And yeah, we have again Yosta to, so Yoster Island, unaccented because of the suffix to, which makes luckily always unaccented the names of islands. So yeah. After that we have the possessive particle no. And last but not least, we have shiro, which I don't remember if we have seen it in game. But yeah, shiro means castle, as you might have guessed. Yeah. I think these in English are called. Yeah, no, actually they are called castles. So yeah, it's the same. Shiro is unaccented. By the way, do not confuse it with shiro. That one accented on the first syllable, so high-low, which is the word for white, in particular the noun, because the adjective is a I adjective, so yeah, you have to add I, and then the accent is the same as for accented adjective, so second to last syllables on the ro, shi, ro, I, low, high, low. Yeah, just to remind you of that. There technically is another one, but yeah, more often than not, these are the common words with the pronunciation shiro. Yeah, one accented, so shiro. The other one unaccented, shiro. So yeah, actually, in this case, the accent can help you distinguish them, other than, of course, the context, because yeah, the white of Yoster Island yeah, doesn't make sense. This is the castle of Yoster Island, other than, of course, literally the icon of the castle. Yeah, I think I switched, yeah, we played the previous level as Mario, so yeah, we played this one as Luigi. Yeah, without further ado, we can actually start it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I wanted to keep Yoshi to show this. Yeah, you can't, you dismount Yoshi. Yeah, you can't keep Yoshi in castles. Yeah, immediately we have another 1 point advice. Yeah, makes sense since we have, in this case, another action that wasn't present in previous Mario games. You can already guess it based on what's on screen behind also this text box. Yeah, we have the usual 1 point advice, and then it says Jump tsu ni ue ni ki o ireru to kanami ni tsukamaru koto ga dekimasu. And then it stops there. Yeah, first and foremost we have jumpu, again jump from English. Not sure if we haven't seen it this time, I think. But yeah, notice the n, which actually becomes m because of the following p, pu in this particular case. Jump from English, accented. After that, we finally, funny enough, have the kanji we have studied in this very serious because is the kanji. It's a kanji that is used in game. Funny enough, again we have the meaning to for it. Sorry, the reading to the Chinese reading. Technically, there's also another one which is Ju, but it's actually also Chu, but with the voicing, even though they have distinct meanings. And when we add Chu as a suffix, it becomes literally in the middle of whatever that the word before it means. Usually in the middle of, we've seen for the example, Kojitsu, in the middle of construction. So the typical sign for construction work. In our case, literally in the middle of jump, in the sense of in the middle of jumping. So while jumping. As a reminder, usually when you add the suffix to, the accent becomes the word becomes unaccented. So my guess would be also for this one, even though of course is technically an English word instead of the usual Chinese compounds. Usually you would find it with Chinese compounds, but you should still follow the rule. So unaccented jump to. Then we have the particle ni. In this case, technically, in at more than the locative particle technically here, because it doesn't actually follow the usual rules, because with other verbs, with most verbs we use the for that, ni with locative verbs, but here literally we use ni because of chu, even though here we use most likely with the Chinese reading. In other contexts you'll see naka ni. So simply in at. Technically you could consider it in this case actually similar also to the temporal usage of in of ni. So at a specific moment, at the specific moment of jumping, being in the middle of jumping. So ni most likely is there for that reason. Anyway, the meaning is that clearly in the middle of jumping, so while jumping. Then we have ue, should be an accent. We've seen it before, we've even studied this kanji. Means top, above, up, and usually also used with ni. So in, at. In this case, actually more actually required by the following part. Technically, the expression we have actually seen already in previous in this very game. Because after that we have key from English key, also accented, just like that should be. Then we have the object particle o. Then we have the verb ireru. To put in, also to let in, to take in, to bring in, and so on, to insert. Again, technically, this is the transitive form of the verb. The intransitive one is iru. Iru nowadays only used in certain expressions because for the meaning to go in, to enter, then of course we use the verb hairu, which is technically a compound accented one, so with the same meaning. Technically we would have the intransitive in iru, sorry, in u, the transitive in eru, and yeah, so again, just like other verbs that follow this rule. And yeah, in this case, literally would be to put in the key up. So yeah, again, an expression simply to say put the key as in press the input, the D-pad up. So put the key as in, of course, of the controller as and in general for computing, for computers. After that we have the to, again in this case the conjunction conditional, so yeah, if when, also temporal potentially. After that we have kanami. And yeah, with that, actually, we finally see in practice kana. You see in what sense I mean it in a second. Because kanami is a compound, a strictly Japanese compound. The first word is kana. Not used on its own simply because it's a form used especially in particular for exclusively for compound terms. The form of the word used when on its own is kane. And yeah, you might remember that it's the kanji we studied, not in this series, but in the Super Mario Land 1 and 2 series, in particular Super Mario Land 2 because it's its title. And yeah, so we have seen kane unaccented on its own, but yeah, kana in compounds, and finally we have an example here. After that we have the word ami. Okay, actually accent on the last syllable, so I was correct. Which means net. Yeah, as a reminder, by the way, kane means metal, by extension then money, and it's actually that is the most common meaning nowadays, but yeah, the fundamental meaning is metal. And yeah, then we have ami, web, net, web. And yeah, so we have literally metal, net. And yeah, so it's the word is kanami. Be careful as it's unaccented. So yeah, we can't use the usual rules for compounds in this case. So yeah, you simply have to remember it. But yeah, it means wire netting, wire mesh, and so on, chain link mesh. But yeah, literally in Japanese quite easy, metal, net. Then we have the particle ni. To, required by the verb, as you see, ni, as I think I mentioned at least once before, can also be used when you get it, there's contact with something. And yeah, makes sense in this case, that in this case consider that we then have the verb tsukamaru. Want to check its accent. Oops, sorry. Actually, type it. It means to to hold on to grasp. technically an intransitive verb. And yeah, so in that sense, we actually have then this particle ni. Hold on to. Yeah, that's also why they have that as the first translation, because yeah, we then have this, that to is the particle ni. Sukamaru can also be used for the meaning. By the way, an accent. So Sukamaru, the meaning which is to be caught, also as in by extension to be arrested. It's actually the intransitive form of the verb tsukameru. So actually it would be tsukameru, unaccented. Sorry. The intransitive form of the verb tsukamu. Yeah, this is one of those that it the intransitive is in aru, again, classical form of the passive. Passive classical form. But yeah, the transitive one is in u, tsukamu. So should technically be yeah, no, actually unfortunately in this case and they technically use different kanji, it's accented. So be careful, there's this difference between the accents that usually isn't present between the intransitive and transitive form. But yeah, despite using different kanji nowadays, the origin is clearly still that, because yeah, tsukamu means to seize, to catch, to grasp, to grip, and so on. So yeah, still clearly the origin is that in of these strictly Japanese verbs. Yeah, in our case, hold on to, yeah, metal net, literally. After that, we have again koto ga dekimasu. So yeah, the nominalizer, koto as the nominalizer for the verb, thing as in matter, ga the subject particle, and then dekimasu, the kiru, to be able to do. Verb with an verb without the ru to make the continuative form to add and mass, but we have already seen it today. Yes, so the meaning is the full translation becomes if yeah, I honestly keep it technically as a if in this case. If you literally put the key up, and yeah, again, if you press up by adapting it in the middle of a jump, so while jumping, it's possible to hold on to, yeah, literally the metal net, so yeah, the wire netting, however you want to translate that, but yeah, literally metal net. Okay. Should be fine. Okay. Then we have the final part, pretty short. Doa ni hairu no mo ueki de. And yeah, funny enough, first and foremost we have doa from English door. Simply again the rule for R, and so becomes A, accented like in English on the do, doa, high low. Then we have the particle ni, in to, well, to as in into, because then we have the verb hairu, as mentioned. Yeah, it's the verb nowadays used usually for to go into, to enter, go, come, into, to get in, to enter. Accented. I noticed that in this case, yeah, the accent moves on the ha so not on the second to last more, but on the third to last, because high AE is considered diphthong, and so that's why. Sometimes they aren't considered such vowels in diphthong. In other cases, for example, in the case of AE, but we'll see that again when those verbs come up again, but in this case, hairu. Then we have the no, which is the other typical nominalizer for verbs. Fact, we could translate it, thing, but yeah. Technically, both no and mo, no and koto can be used in certain cases. In others, they each one has its specific usages. The translation more or less is the same, and again they are both nominalizers for verbs. Anyway, yeah, for example, koto is required in the expression above. Koto ga dekimasu. Koto ga dekiru. In this case, yeah, we simply have no to nominalize it. After that, we have the inclusive particle mo, also even. Then we have ue, again, up, above, top, in this case, simply up. After that, we have ki once more, so yeah, up, ki. Last but not least, we have the party de, which, yeah, in this case would be actually a particle. So yeah, literally simply with the up key. And yeah, so technically the sentence ends there with without a verb. An implied one, you could say the dekimasu again, so yeah, it's possible, but yeah, as for the translation, literally it would be also the fact of entering, going into, if you want, doors. It's in English we could use in translation with the up key, or it's possible, so yeah, again the dekimasu with the up key, but yeah, literally in Japanese with the M simply have with the up key, ue key de. Okay, with that we can actually continue and start playing this level, but yeah, they had to explain that because this is a new action for not present in previous games. And yeah, you can also not mention that when enemies are on the other side, you can press the B button to hit them. You can also jump. I failed that at first, but yeah, you can use that. You can also jump on the Koopas from above. But yeah, you can, if they are on the other side, you can press P to punch. Press this. Okay, actually to get the item. There I didn't, I should have actually used the one I already had to get 2 5 flowers. And yeah, as you have seen, actually we have a coin on the other side, so yeah, actually we have to go behind the metal net by pressing B on those when we have these panels, as those allow us to change side. Even if I stayed on the other side, I think that you'd go in the foreground if you jump between nets. I seem to recall that. So yeah, we'll simply do that. Doing this is kind of risky, but oh well. And yeah, as you have seen, actually we have another block of these. yeah, another 1 point advice. Okay, and this is actually new. Was wondering at first because it was about dragon coins again. As you see, it's the first word. But yeah, it's a new one. 1 point advice, as usual, and then it says Dragon coin o Gomai Atsumeru Toki wa Ato Modori Dekinai Kousu ga Aru kara Tsui shiyou. Yeah, first and foremost, we have again, yeah, this is we have seen before, as mentioned, yeah, we have the term dragon coin. First and foremost, Doragon. As you have seen, accented on the do, so be careful, unlike in English. But of course, because the D isn't a syllable on its own in English, unlike with the additional O in Japanese, but yeah, the accent moves for some reason. Doragon. Then we have coin, of course, from English, simply coin. Should be accented. Again, being two words, one after the other, most likely it's considered a compound in this case. English words. The accent most likely is on the ko, on the second one. Only the accent of the second one is kept. So yeah, Doragon coin. So yeah, low the first mora because of the rule. High up to ko included, and then low. Doragon coin. Then we have the object particle O. Then we have again the numeral plus counter combination with my. Yeah, as mentioned, my is the counter for flat, thin things, thin, flat objects, doesn't matter. Yeah, sheets of paper, we have seen the photographs in Pokemon Snap, plates technically also, so yeah, coins. As for the accent, we have seen it, I think I mentioned it last time, we have seen it in this very series. But yeah, it's an easy one in general because it's accented usually before the mai, before the counter, so before the mai, on the syllable, so be careful. For example, the sun, typical one for 3. The accent isn't on the n because it can stay there, so it's on the sa. The only exception being the funny enough, the word we have with the number we have here with the 5, which becomes unaccented, so be careful. Everything else before the mai, immediately before the mai, on the syllable immediately before the mai, the accent, except for 5, which is unaccented, called mai. Then we have the verb atsumeru. Should be actually an accent that we've seen before, also in this context, I'm pretty sure. No, actually accented. Atsumeru. Low, high, low. But yeah, to collect, to assemble together. And yeah, actually we have seen before today, but in its intransitive form, Atsumaru. Yeah, again, Eru, the transitive, Aru, the intransitive one, the Aru, the one in Aru, classical form of the passive. After that, we have again Toki, so yeah, again, technically relative clause plus the noun, which is means time, occasion, and so on. In practice, when translating, you can say simply when. Then we have the topic particle wa, and so yeah, literally in this case, as for when, if you want to adapt it, or literally as for when, the moment, the time in which, and then the relative clause. Then we have this atomodori, which is technically, I think, a compound. Wonder if I find it. Okay, yeah, found it. Pretty simple. It comes from ato, which means is a noun technically, which means behind, rear, after, later. Also reminder, the rest. Yeah, the fundamental meaning, I'd say, well, technically behind, but yeah, also after, and then everything else from that. Actually used, as we'll see, I think we might have seen it at least once before in a previous series, as another noun after we, like toki, to do, yeah, like English, after doing the action of a verb. Again, the same structure as relative clause plus ato. In that case, then usually the particle, if added, would be de instead of the usual ni, but yeah, that's the rule, but not even necessarily added. Yeah, was worth mentioning since we have toki right here. But yeah, here simply as the first part of this compound noun, because yeah, after that we have modori from modoru, yeah, the verb we've already seen, to turn back, to return, to go back. Being a u verb god verb, we can change the u into i to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun. Since the verb is accented, and luckily the rule is followed in this case, there are some cases in which it isn't. The accent is on the last syllable, so yeah, modori, and yeah, it means return, as in the noun. Other meanings from that, but yeah, the fundamental one, return. So yeah, literally would mean return back, because of the meaning of ato. Yeah, another meaning would be technically from behind, yeah, also back. And yeah, so it would be return back, and yeah, so the meanings are going backward, turning back, backtracking, doubling back. Other extended meanings, but yeah, let's focus on these. A noun that can technically be made into a verb by adding the verb suru, as usual for these nouns that can be, yeah, literally to do, going backward, to do, turning back. Yeah, so to go backward, to turn back. Suru, but in this case we have the kinai from the kiru, again, to be able to do. And yeah, that's the rule we have seen before. Instead of making the potential form of suru, we straight up replace it with the verb dekiru, because the verb dekiru already has the meaning to be able to do. Dekiru is a verb-extend verb, so we can drop the ru to make, in this case, the irrealis form, the not yet state form, which is the one required to then add nai, the adjective which on its own means non-existent, and yeah, so actually used to make the negative form of the verb without further conjugation in the present, potentially the future, as in the present form of the verb used for a future verb in plain speech. But after that we have a noun, so yeah, again, relative clause. Yeah, noun which is course. And so course in which you can't go backward and so on. Then we have the subject particle ga, the verb aru, which means to be as in to exist for inanimate things. So yeah, objects or also places in our case, yeah, a course or concepts. Aru then can actually be translated as is there is, there are. In our case, yeah, there are courses that and so on. In after aru we have kara, which means in this case after a verb, like in this case, becomes a conjunction, which means because since, yeah, so since there are courses and so on. And then we have chui, a Chinese compound, which means attention. We'll mention also the other meanings in a second. Okay, this is one I thought so. One of those accented on the first syllable. So yeah, not the most common accent for Chinese compounds. Again, by Chinese compounds I intend usually the most common ones, so two kanji. Yeah, the second most common one, which is on the first syllable, chui. Yeah, it means attention, notice, heed. Also by extension, attention as in care, caution, precaution. Can also mean advice, warning, caution. Again, caution, reminder. Honestly, in general, I'd say yeah, the fundamental meaning is attention or caution. And yeah, a noun technically. But then we can make the verb by adding suru again, so yeah, literally to do, or better in English, to pay attention, caution, to be careful, we could say also from care. And yeah, we have the verb suru, but in this case we conjugate it. Unfortunately, you simply have to remember, because suru is completely irregular, that to make its volitional form, like in this case, it becomes shi yo u, so shi yo, because of the rule of o u, it's actually long o. And yeah, so shi yo, volitional form here in its most common meaning, so yeah, simply let's. Okay, the full translation so becomes: as for the time, the moment in which you collect the occasion, better in this case maybe, in which you collect 5 dragon coins. Of course, we have to adapt it in English, but yeah, the structure in Japanese is whatever the noun is with the object particle, then the numeral plus counter, and then the verb, as you can see here. But yeah, as for occasions in which you collect 5 dragon coins, there are because since there are courses in which you can't go back, as in you can go backwards, be careful. Let's pay attention. So yeah, let's be careful better in English, I'd say in this case. Okay, so yeah, we check that. I guess so. Yeah, we have cut this. We got the midway gate. Yeah, this is an example. We went through the door, and yeah, we can't go back. So yeah, tough luck. You can't go back after entering this room. But technically, in this case, you could simply die. In other cases, you aren't that lucky. Oh boy. Actually, I have one more of these. So yeah, we'll check this out. Most likely we won't have the time for what's after the castle. We'll keep it for next time. But yeah, this we'll check because yeah, then we'll have to finish the level. Ah yeah, here it says Oshiro no naka ni wa Yoshi no nakama ga tsukamatte iru. And yeah, first and foremost we have Oshiro. Again, simply we have the honorific prefix O, usually used with strictly Japanese words. There are exceptions. Yeah, here it's regular because then after that we have Shiro, which is the strictly Japanese word for castle, as we have already seen. Couldn't find it also last time. We have seen this. The accent of Oshiro, but I guess would be still unaccented. Unfortunately, the honorific prefix can change the accent in some cases, so we aren't completely sure. Yeah, then we have the possessive particle no. We have again our kanji here, pronounced as naka. You can see the naka ni I mentioned, the structure. Yeah, literally in the middle of the castle. Better from middle, by extension, inside the castle. So yeah, inside the castle. Literally the inside of the castle, but yeah, inside the castle. After that, yeah, we have ni for the location for this with this naka to indicate the position. Again, despite doesn't fall, it's not strictly the location as in the usual in at a certain location, a certain spot, a certain place better even than. Yeah, this is simply with these words for up, down, middle, or inside, and so on. You use the particle ni for those. Yeah, then we have the topic particle wa, and so yeah, as for inside the castle, then we have Yoshi, of course, yeah, Yoshi. Then we have the possessive particle again, no. And then we have Nakama. So yeah, funny enough, notice that this Naka isn't written with the kanji because yeah, actually it would use a different kanji because it's the word Nakama is a compound, strictly Japanese compound. The Naka, in this case, Naka, by the way, accent on the first syllable in both cases. Yeah, the first, this one would mean relationship, ma, space, also time, pause, but yeah, in this case, space. So yeah, literally the space of the relationship. And so it's the word that then the meaning becomes companion, fellow, and so on. But we have seen them before, Yoshi's companions, fellows, and so on. By the way, Nakama, accent on the last syllable. So yeah, technically on the start of the second word, part of the compound. In this case, we could technically follow the rules of these compounds. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then yeah, we have Tsukamatteiru from Tsukamaru. Which we have seen, yeah, in this case it's in the meaning. To be caught, not to be arrested, because those who got them clearly aren't cops. Simply in general, to be caught. It's a verb golden verb, so you have to follow the rules to make the form. It's in rules, so it can becomes double consonant te. The form required because then we had in this case, auxiliary verb iru. On its own, iru means to be, as in to exist, of animate objects. Animate things, so people and animals. But when used with the form, it becomes an auxiliary to make the continuing action or state of the verb. So either to be in or to have had, to be had, in when translating it into English. In our case, actually, would be the state, continuing state. So have been captured. The full translation becomes as for inside the castle, the castles better in this case, as it's in general. Yoshi's friends, companions, and so on, however you want to translate that, have been captured. Then we continue. Konoshiro no kokupato no tatakai wa Yogan no ike no otoshi aida. First and foremost we have kono, came from the Kosoado series. With the no, it becomes the demonstrative adjective, so these followed by a noun. These or these, depending on if the following word is singular or plural. Not distinguished usually in Japanese. Sometimes we can specify it being plural with suffixes and so on. Most of the time not, so only based on the context. In this case, this castle is a single castle, because after that we have Shiro, again castle, this castle. So actually both kono an accent, Shiro also an accented. So konoshiro no, and also the no after it. Konoshiro no, low, and everything else keeps on being high. After that we have kokupa, which is the name for Koopalings in Japanese, as we have seen in our Super Mario Bros. 3 series, Super Mario Advance 4 in particular. Literally we have this prefix Koopa, the Japanese name for Bowser simply, and then this ko before it. As a prefix usually would technically be the one, the ko, which means small. It's worth mentioning that though there's also the word on its own, ko, unaccented, which means child, kid, and so on. So technically would be small Bowser, but they're still related, so you could say Koopa Kid. Funny enough, this would technically be the actual Koopa Kids. Unlike the one that's called Koopa Kid in Japanese, which is actually Mini Koopa, if I recall correctly, in Japanese. So Mini Bowser, like it's called actually in most games in outside of the US. But we'll see that again. But these are Kokupa, and they are the Koopalings. Then we have the particle to, with, as in with someone. Then we have the possessive particle no. And yeah, the possessive particle no here simply to connect this kokuppa to with the kokuppa, so with the kupalings, with the kupaling single because it's this castle, to connect it with the following noun, which is tatakai. From tatakau, I think unaccented means to fight. And it is. And yeah, of course, we can change the, it's a verb column verb, so we can change the u into i to make the corresponding, to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun. Tatakai should still be unaccented, and it is. And yeah, so fight, as in the noun, battle, also war, conflict. Yeah, fundamental meaning fight. We have studied a kanji for tatakau, but not for the one used most of the time. So we'll see that when the time comes. Then we have the topic particle wa. So as for the fight, and so on. Then we have yogan. A Chinese compound which means lava. And yeah, funny enough, literally, it's a Chinese compound with two kanji. And yeah, the first one means melt. The second one means is rock boulder. And so yeah, the term for lava in Japanese is literally melted rock. And by the way, it's a Chinese compound accented on the first syllable, so yeah, the second most common accent. Then we have the possessive particle no again. After that we have ike. A strictly Japanese word, which means pond, accent on the last syllable. I was correct. And yeah, by the way, in this case you would actually hear the accent because if you stop there, then it will sound the same as an accented words. But when you add particles like here, then you can hear the accent. Yogan no ike e. So yeah, low, high, and then low for the particles in this case. And yeah, then we have the particle e written as he, towards. Then we have again the possessive particle to connected to the following noun. Following noun, which is otoshiai. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should be that. Yeah, I can find it as a word. Let me see if I can find it combined, even though I have doubts. Because technically, yeah, it's not a typical one. It comes from otosu. Okay, accented, perfect. Which means to drop, to lose, but to lose in the sense to let fall. Yeah, to drop. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is otosu, is to drop, to let fall. It's a verb, colon verb, so we can change the u into it to make the continuative form, to then add the second part of the compound, which is au. Not the one which means on its own means to meet. This is the one which means to come together, to merge, to unite, to meet, also to fit, to match, and so on. But yeah, when used as the second part of a verb a compound verb, it usually has the meaning to do to each other, to do together, in our case to each other. It's a verb, a common verb, so we can change the U into E to make the continuative form, in this case to make the corresponding noun. So yeah, the verb otoshiau would be to let fall to each other. And yeah, so we have the corresponding noun, letting each other fall. And yeah, the final da should be simply the copula in plain speech. It's technically could be based on this, could be something else. You could see otoshi, again from otosu, the continuative form, so the corresponding noun plus aida, which is the other reading for ma, the kanji for ma has similar meanings as in interval, space, and so on. But yeah, no, in this case, based on the context, as we'll see, it's from otoshiau, and then we get the corresponding noun and then the copula. I quickly check, even though we don't have time, for if I can find how it becomes with ao, even though I have doubts. Let me quickly see if I can find it. And unfortunately it's difficult to find. Hopefully it might be accented just like ao on its own. Unfortunately I can't confirm it now, so we don't know. Might be accented, might be unaccented. Oh well. But yeah. So the full translation becomes as for the fight with the Koopaling of this castle, it's making each other fall to the lava pool, the lava pond. In English, you could adapt it as a pool, but yeah, literally would be pond in Japanese. The pond of lava. Yeah, okay, keep it in order. Yeah, so we'll enter the door, and yeah, we have our Koopaling here, Iggy in particular. And yeah, you have to jump on him. And yeah, depending on where he's standing, yeah, then he moves on one side and the other, and yeah, you have to make it fall into the lava. And yeah, we got this cutscene. Thank you. And yeah, we got this part of the story after it. As you see, it will go away in a second, so we had to take the screenshot anyway. I'm pretty sure it should go away, but we'll see. Okay, no, apparently you have to press. But yeah, we can keep it here because yeah, we clearly don't have time for all this text, so we'll check this out next time. Yeah, we can press. And see that, yeah, we have finished World 1 and we are going to another location. But yeah, since we don't have time, I'll save and end. So choose the final option. I'll quickly show, as usual.
Super Mario.
And yeah, as you can see, now we are in World 2, and yeah, we have played 6 levels. And Yeah, so we can end it here. And yes, so today we've continued to play Super Mario World, as in Super Mario Advance 2. We played 2 levels, and so I actually finished World 1. Completed, technically. I didn't show it, but yeah, I think we actually got we played all the levels, which is what matters the most in this game. For straight-up completionists, technically also collecting all the dragon coins, it's not required at all, luckily. But we'll still try to get as many as possible, but yeah, if we miss them, oh well. But yeah, so next time, we should be on Wednesday as usual, unless plans change. We'll continue with this series. Starting with that story, that writing at the end of the castle that we had clearly didn't have time to check out today. We start with that, but yeah, after that we'll finally start World 2, as you have seen, based on the file selector. So yeah, see you next time.